This is the redesigned Honda Accord. Now, the Accord has dominated the mid-size sedan market for decades, but I probably would like to argue that with this redesign and the increase in the 2.7 inches of length to this car, that it probably pushed itself into the full sedan market. This is the Sport L Hybrid trim, and with this radiant red metallic paint and all of these black accents, including these black 5-spoke wheels, this thing just looks awesome. Styling is always subjective, and there are a few things that I'm not so crazy about with this redesign. I do like the clean and simple look of this front fascia. With the LED lighting, the black grille, and the black air dam, it just looks nice and it's very well done. Moving around to the side is kind of where I lost my excitement. Now you can see it's got this really long hood here, and then you go back and you've got this sloping roof line that just seems to cut the butt of the car off. Now it does look striking in some angles, and I'm sure you guys just think that I'm crazy. This is the 8th generation Toyota Camry. It started in 2018, got a little refresh for 2021. But with the Honda Accord getting a complete redesign for 2023, you know, that means that the Toyota Camry will be carried over to 2024. Why? Because they can, and because they are still the #1 selling midsize sedan. They are still outselling all other midsize sedans for 2023 by 58,000 units. So there's no rush for them to redo some things, but there are some things that need to be touched up, need to be redesigned, need to be updated, and we will get to those here in just a few minutes. This Camry is the Hybrid XLE trim in Supersonic Red. Now with the XLE trim, you get the automatic LED headlights and daytime running lights. They are also steering responsive so that you can see around the corners at night, and this blue Toyota logo, that is how you know that it's a hybrid. Now you come around to the side here, and with the XLE trim you also get these 18-inch machine-faced wheels. These are one of my favorite OEM wheels. I think it really makes the car look even sportier and kind of gives it a little bit of an update and refresh for this year. Let's look under the hood and check out your powertrain options. The lower trim Accords come with a 1.5-liter turbocharged engine that gets about 192 horsepower. But the hybrids, like these, they get a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder that's paired with a pretty powerful electric drive motor, giving it 204 horsepower, and it's connected to an eCVT, and that will get you to 60 miles per hour in about 6.8 seconds. As for the economy, this is rated at 46 in the city, 41 on the highway, for an average of 44 miles per gallon. But if you want to know the real world mile per gallon of this Honda Accord Hybrid, I will link my real world mile per gallon test at the end of this video and down in the description. So the engine that comes with this Camry Hybrid is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder with the hybrid Synergy drive system. It gets 208 horsepower. It's tied to an electronic CVT with front-wheel drive. You get a 0 to 60 in about 7.4 seconds, which is not extremely quick, but it is kind of about the middle of the segment. With the fuel economy on this, you get 44 in the city, 47 on the highway, and 46 combined. Now, as we've been driving this, we have been seeing a little bit under that, but my wife has a little bit of a lead foot, so we've been only seeing about 42 on that. If you want to see the real world mile per gallon test that we did on this, it will be linked down in the description and at the end of this video. Now let's take a look at the space in this trunk. As you can see, that's actually a pretty good amount of space there. We're looking at about 16.7 cubic feet. But let's see how much room there is in here for all this luggage for if you have to go on a family trip. Well, there you go. Got it all in there, and there's still some room to spare. But if you have some longer items, you can actually pull the handles right here and drop the 60/40 split rear seats. Well, I don't know about you, but I was pretty impressed by that. But Honda... Okay, let's walk around to the back and let's check out the trunk. All right. Not huge, but a decent amount of space back here. We've got 15.1 cubic feet of space, and you do have a 60/40 split with the back seats that you can drop those to gain a little more space. Now, how about we see how many suitcases and how much luggage we can actually fit in this trunk. Here's our luggage. Of course, we've got a very large suitcase, a decent sized suitcase, and we've got a small one, a carry-on bag, and 2 duffel bags. So let's see how much of this we can fit in that trunk. Okay, well, there we go. We got it all in there. You see the big ones back there in the back, the other big one here, smaller one there, duffel bag, and your carry-on. So that's enough luggage for 5 people or a family of 5, and it all fit. Now, depending on how full you have some of those things, might be a little tighter fit, but it all fit in there. But Honda has redesigned the interior also, so let's go check that out. All right, so here is the door panel. You can see you've got 2 memory settings there. You've got all your switches and buttons right there, easy to use, and you've got your speaker down below. Driver's seat, really nice. They are very comfortable. Bolstering on there is really good, keeps it planted in your seat pretty well. There is the adjuster for your seat. It's fully powered with lumbar. That's a good thing. And then I love these vents. I think it's really cool. The bad thing is there's a lot of cell phone holders that will not fit in the vents. This is actually the first Honda Accord that I have been in, so I'm not real sure what the major changes are, but I do know this whole dash is different. The infotainment screen is pretty awesome. Driver's display is fully digital. That's pretty cool. And let's get in and get you a little better look at things. We have a 12.3 infotainment screen here. You can see it's on Android Auto. It also does Apple CarPlay, and those are both wireless. It's very easy to use, very quick to display whatever you need to display. Here we've got our power flow. If you go back and you go into your trip, then you have your current drive, you have a trip, and it keeps the last 3. And same with your trip B, and you always have the power flow up on this one side. The only time that you don't is if you put the power flow here, then you have Android Auto showing up on that side. These things are very easy. It's very quick and snappy. I haven't had any issues with it. Very easy to move stuff around, change things, look at whatever you need to. It's really quick. Very nice system. This is the volume and the power button. I don't like this. I think this needs to be a bigger button, you know, something a little bit bigger, about the size of these down here, because your first thing is you come down here and you're like, which one of these is the power and which one's the volume? So that needs to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more known. This is your volume. Now, moving down here, you have your two vents, and I do like these vents, and I like this mesh system. This is really, really nice. To me, I feel like it's upscale, but other people may not, but I really do like the look of it. I think it's really cool, although you might have a problem with some cell phone holders not working on it. Down here, you got your climate control. These do have heated seats, but not cooled seats. They might have cooled seats up on the touring trim. You have all of your other modes. You do have dual temperature gauges and a fan control, and it does have auto. And down here, this is the best part. So you've got this cubby hole here that will hold your cell phone. It is big enough to hold cell phone. There are two USB-Cs. One has a charging symbol on it, and the other one has the USB symbol on it. So I'm guessing one will only charge, and the other one will only do the USB. The other thing is I love this. I love having a regular shifter here instead of having buttons or switches or dials or something like that. It just has a traditional shifter. You just press the button in the front and you pull it back to drive. Very simple and easy to use. Down here you have your drive modes. You have an electric only button, which the electric only on this is under 30 miles per hour, and you're only going to get maybe a few miles out of it. The battery is not very big. It's about a 1.8 kilowatt hour, I believe. You have a parking brake and your brake hold. You do have a compartment here. It's got a decent amount of room, and it does have a 12-volt plug inside there. Steering wheel is telescopic and will move up and down. Easy to get into position where you need it. Buttons on the steering wheel are very easy to understand. You can see you've got your volume control for your stereo here and your switch tracks. Your voice activation is right here. And then controlling the center driver's display is this right here, and then you also have your adaptive cruise. You can set that. You have lane centering here, and then there's your cruise control and up down. Very simple, very easy to use. The one thing that I do like is you can actually see what your stocks here say. So you've got your wipers all on this side that you can read and set easily. On this side, you've got your lights, and this is also your turn signals. So those are really easy to look at. You don't have to lean forward to find them. You can see them very clearly. That's really nice. So this is your fully digital driver's display. You got a few things that you can do on the right side, and you can change through. You got your brightness settings, safety, maintenance, seat belts. So you can check, make sure everybody's got their seat belts on. Driver safety. You can actually put the navigation up there. You've got your average speed and how long a time that you've been on trip A, and your range and fuel. Like you can see there that it says range of 360 miles. Average fuel is 46.9 miles per gallon. So that's right about what we're supposed to be averaging, even with this sitting here running, trying to keep it cool in here while I make this video. We're still right at just about that 47 miles per gallon. And it's supposed to average 44, so we are above that. You can switch your trip here from trip A to trip B. Also, if you hold it down, it will reset. And you can see that it's running on EV down on your left. And that's your power band there. When it dips down into the green, you have regenerative braking up above that. Then it's going to tell you how much power you're using and kick in the engine when it needs to. And then your drive modes also pop up on there and up here, so you get to see those switch. Basically does the same thing on the instrument panel here. So there we go, that's pretty cool. Everything here is just laid out very nicely, very easy to find. I can even see the power button right back here without having to look around for it. So that's in a good spot also. Everything has been excellent in here. You've got a sunglass holder here. This controls, you get your controls for your sunroof up here, and you do have a closing sunshade if you would like to. I just really like this design. I feel comfortable in here. It's sleek. I love all the black. I think it's just all black is really nice. And I know there's some people that don't like the piano black because this is a lot of piano black. I like the piano black. When there is this much kind of a matte finish on all of your dash accessories or a satin finish, it's nice to have a little bit of gloss every once in a while just to give it a little touch of elegance, I would say. Okay, so I said I was going to tell you that there are some things that need to be updated about this car if they're going to carry it over to 2024. Hopefully this is something that they can easily update very quickly, and we're going to take a look at that right now. So let's go to the inside. Okay. So first off, this is the Chateau interior. It is very nice, very beautiful. I like the light with the dark tones. It just looks really good. It's not a black, it's actually like a dark charcoal gray. And then this is black, of course, here. And then you've got this macadamia color, which is nice. This is just hard plastic here, so I'm not a big fan of that, but this is nice soft touch leather right here. The seats are all leather. You got full powered seats with lumbar. They are also heated and ventilated. But let's hop on the inside here. I am going to go ahead and start this up because it is a scorcher today. Here is what we're talking about needing updated. One, we're going to need this infotainment screen. Needs to be updated. So hopefully they're going to do something about that. Maybe they'll update the software system, but hopefully this little area won't be too hard to update. It's got this Y design here that my wife likes. I am not a big fan of all of this. It seems like it's too much and too big. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I would like something a little bit smaller, a little more stuff integrated into the dash, but straight across and open this whole area up. It would feel a lot bigger in here. But this design has been carried on since 2000, at least 21 that I know of. I haven't been into 2018 to see if it's the same or not, but you guys can let me know down in the comments about that. But I do like the way that it is set up. You have your climate control right here. Is easy to do. The infotainment screen is really nice. It's easy to get to. Like I said, it is a little dated because it does have buttons on the sides and everything, and pretty much nowadays everything is touchscreen. And this is still touchscreen too. I mean, when you switch things over, you can touch it is a touchscreen, but you have home buttons and stuff, and buttons that probably don't necessarily need to be on there. And then you move down here and you have a USB back here, and that is so you can connect your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That's the only way that you can connect it. You do have a 120 or a 12 volt plug there. This here, I believe, is a cell phone charger, but we got it to work one time, but then it wouldn't work after that, and so I'm not real sure. But if you push it back, you do have a little bit of cubby hole there, a little space, but I don't see anything additional in there other than it is just a storage space. Couple cup holders right here, and you have a traditional shifter, which I love. I love having a traditional shifter. It just looks great instead of having some fancy push and pull buttons and all that stuff. And then you go back and you have your eco, normal, and sport modes. And you have auto hold, and then you have the EV mode. And EV mode will keep it in electric as long as you're driving under a certain speed for as long as it possibly can. And then it will switch on to the engine. That speed is probably less than 30 miles per hour. It may be even lower than that. Then you have your electronic parking brake here, and then you move back here and you can see you have the heated and ventilated buttons here. So you press the top one, turns heat and it turns it orange, and the cool turns it green. So nice that you have levels of that. But one thing that I did notice sitting in this driver's position, if I am sitting here and I want to turn my cooled seat on and I turn and look, when you're looking at my view, I actually can't see the cool button. It's about as close as I can get you, but you can't see the button to actually turn it on. So I think they need to kind of move that a little bit. All right, so let's move on to the steering wheel. It's pretty simple. It's been the same for a long time. You have got your cruise control here, up and down, and then this is your radar sensor for your adaptive cruise and lane keep assist. Your mode button, this actually switches the stereo, not your car modes. And then on the other side, you have your center display in the middle there where you can make adjustments. Then down here, there's your volume for your radio and the speaker, or your voice command things, and then your phone and the back button. All right, so now let's move on to this driver's display. Now, the driver's display is actually kind of nice. I do like it. It does have digital in the middle, analog on each side, which is perfectly fine. Over here, you have your charging and your battery, your hybrid system over here. So when it goes down into the blue is usually during your regenerative braking or letting off the gas to slow down. As long as you are in eco and you're going a certain speed or a constant speed, it will kick over to hybrid when it can. But if you are in electric on the hybrid and it kicks in and you press the gas to accelerate and you get into that power band there, that will automatically turn the engine on to get you up to speed you want to be at. And then depending on how fast that speed is, it will occasionally kick over to the electric battery and run off of that. It is only a 1.6 kilowatt hour battery, so you don't get a whole lot of time on it, but it's pretty decent. So in the middle, you do have several things that you can look at. Up here, you have all of your adjustments. That's your lane keep assist and lane centering, which is right there. You can turn that on and off. I have it off because I don't like to drive that way, but my wife likes it on. So we have to switch that back and forth. So that's all fine there. And then if you go down here, this is your trip information. And one thing, maybe you guys can tell me down in the comments, but the trip on here, I can't find where it says how many miles I've driven on this trip because I reset it when I got the car. And it says I have 333 miles to empty, and I have my odometer there, so I know how many miles I've actually driven, but the trip I am not seeing, and I can't find anywhere that it says it, how many miles I've driven. So that's a little confusing. If you know how to figure that one out, let me know down in the comments, and that way somebody else might be able to see that and know. You can go down and you can have this view with your car and your watching your lanes on each side of you for your lane keep assist and lane centering. And then there's your audio and then your tire pressures, and that's it. So I usually have it on this so I can watch my miles per gallon. Since we've had the car, we have driven it a total of 172 miles, and we're averaging 41.3. All right, you move on across here. You do have this nice little wood grain going across here. Well, it's plastic, but it looks like wood grain, so it looks kind of fancy. This is soft touch up here, so that's really nice, but this is all hard plastic. And this is not just piano black. I'm not sure if I can get my camera to pick it up, but in the sun, there are flecks of color in this piano black, and I just probably can't get it because I am not in the sun anymore. Clouds have come over. Okay, so we just move on around. Door panel, just basically the same as the other side. One thing we notice is that it is really hard to fit a bottle down in that corner, so that pocket needs to be expanded for whenever they do the redesign. You have a little bit more room to get bottles and stuff in there. If you have a small bottle, yes, it'll probably fit in there, a water bottle, but if you carry what most people carry in these 20-ounce hot or cold containers that we all use now, it will not fit in there. Of course, with this ventilation seats, this is really nice, and they've got this nice little gray stripe here in the middle, which is pretty cool, kind of blends in with the rest of the interior. All right, so this one does come with a sunroof. There were a few things that were added on to this car, and one of them was the driver assistance package, which included this heads-up display. Hopefully you guys can see that. It is kind of hard to see, but it's hard to see in the camera, but it is really clear when I'm looking at it. It does do very well. I found myself using it quite a bit. And then we have got the ventilated seats that we just talked about. So those were the two major things in that, and that was a $1,400 add-on. There are several other things in that, but these were the two main ones. And then we also added the navigation package. Now the navigation package gave you this 9-inch infotainment screen and a 9-speaker JBL stereo system. So JBL is pretty decent. It's not anything crazy, but it is pretty nice, and it does have a subwoofer with it. Then it also gives you the wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And then I will show you guys the backup camera so you guys can see what that looks like. There's your backup camera. It's nothing special. It is a little cloudy, little grainy, so it's not the best picture that you can get, but you know, it is outdated a little bit, and hopefully with maybe for next year, they'll update that system and a few other things, but yeah, it may be 2025 before we see a full update on all this stuff. You do also have another camera view button. So there is a 360 view, which is actually a pretty cool view that you can see. So that's a play and pause. So it does a whole video, and then you can click. I did not know this. You can actually pick what color your car is. Well, that's pretty cool. I've never seen that. That's awesome. Wow. All right, we all learned something new today, or at least I did. What else we got here? Oh, you can do blue or bronze. Well, this one's red, so I'm just gonna leave it on red. All right, that's it for that. I did forget to show you the center console. It's pretty good size, and of course it does have a USB and a USB-C plug, but it looks to be that these are only for charging your phones. This one here is the one you have to use for your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. These inside here, you probably will not be able to use for that. Now that you have seen this new designed interior, let's hop in the back and see how well adults and kids fit back there. I have the driver's seat set in my driving position, and I have a lot of room here. I mean, there's about maybe 3-4 inches there. That's a lot of space in here. Very impressed with that. That must be where that 2.7 extra inches comes in. Gives you a little bit more space here in the back. Now my head though, I've maybe got double stacked 2 fingers. So let's say about an inch or so before I touch the ceiling. My hair is almost scraping it. But it's okay. If I put my head back any farther, then I do scrape it. But other than that, there is plenty of room in here. But let's take a closer look at the back and what else is in here. There are no vents for the back seats, which I don't understand why, but they should have vents. As you can see, there wasn't a whole lot going on back here, but let's load up the kids and see how they fit back here. No, these are not our kids. Our kids are grown, but we wanted to be able to show you guys how kids would fit in these vehicles. So we have these guys, and we call them our parrot pigs. Okay, here you go. These are the parrot pigs, showing you guys how much space there is in the back seat for kids. Right, it's not exactly perfect, but you guys get the idea. 3 can sit across there without any problem. And there's plenty of space. Easily get some car seats back here. The middle one probably should be in a car seat, but he's not for now. So that was all the stuff on the inside and the front. So let's go to the back. I'm gonna get in, we'll see the space that we have, and then I'll show you the inside, and then we'll load up the kids. All right, let's check the space here in the back seat. And my seat is in my driving position, and I've got pretty good amount of room here, probably 3 inches or so. Plenty of room, I can relax a little bit. Headroom, probably got about 2 inches of headroom, so that's good back here also. Now we'll get in here. You saw how I fit in here, so I will just show you my headroom real quick. As you can see that I've got, you know, a couple fingers width of above my head, so that's pretty decent. Back here, you do have pockets in the back seats, which are pretty good, and then you do have some ventilation right here, but there are no USB plugs back here, so nobody can charge their phones or anything like that back here. There's your door pocket back here. You do have soft touch leather here, so that's nice, and this is all soft touch. This is a little softer, but not as soft. This is hard right here. You got hard plastic down here at the bottom, just like the front. Seats are decent back here. They're pretty comfortable. You got a center armrest here, and that has your cup holders for the rear seats. Other than that, it's really not bad. Here's another look at the front dash design. You'll have to let me know down in the comments if this is something you guys like. If you really like this design. My wife likes it. I don't. It's not my favorite. But let me know what you guys think, and whether they need to update it, and what you think they should change. Okay, so we are gonna load up our kids. So you guys see what it looks like with children in the back. These are our pig children. No, we don't think that they're our real children, but we don't have kids. Ours are grown, and this is just kind of represent what it would look like with kids sitting in the back. Yeah, their legs will probably be a little bit longer, but you know, they are pigs, so they got short legs. But you can see there's plenty of room for 3 back here. You can even have room for a couple car seats and maybe somebody sitting in the middle, but there's definitely plenty of room. So let's talk a little bit about pricing. The base model LX trim comes in just a little over $27,000. Now, the Sport base model hybrid comes in just about $33,325. Now, our Sport L trim, which is our tester here, this also was optioned with the Radiant Red Metallic paint, which was a $450 option. You add the destination fees into that, and you come in right around $35,425. Okay, so we've got out here in the sun, so you guys can see this supersonic red color. You know, I don't know what you guys think about it, but it just kind of looks like a normal red to me, but it is a nice red. I'm not a red person, but I'm sure a lot of you are. If you do like it, that's great. It'd be a great choice. It looks really good. And like I said, I do love the wheels. I think they're awesome. So let's talk about some pricing on this car. And so what we've got right now is a base Camry Hybrid is going to start at $28,855. You go up to the Hybrid XLE, which is what this is, but it's going to start out at $33,745. And with this one here, with the options and the destination fee, our tester here comes in at $40,232. So, you know, that's going to be up to you and what your decision is on what options you want to add. You want to add that navigation package for $1,700. Do you want to add that driver assist package, which has the heads-up display and the ventilated seats For me, I don't know, the ventilated seats are starting to become something that you really gotta have. But, you know, the heads-up display, I don't really mind whether I have it or not. I've never had it before, starting to see it on some of these cars that we're testing here. And it is pretty decent and pretty nice, but I would probably leave it off. So after driving this for about 4 or 5 days, I've actually gotten very used to it. It's kind of just felt like I was driving my own car. So, you know, it's very conforming to your lifestyle, really. It feels sporty. The suspension is rather tight. Of course, this is the sport trim, so it should feel a little sporty. And I've just been really impressed with it, and the range and the gas mileage and everything have just been really excellent. So we're coming up here and we're gonna get turned over here, and we are going to see how quick we can get up to 60 miles per hour. So we'll pull around here. You'll see on the screen up here, we are going to switch to sport. I am going to brake torque it. Someone is coming quickly. Brake torque. There we go. $60. All right. Well, it does get up there. Not too bad, I believe. 6.8 seconds, I think, is what it's supposed to be. So pretty decent, not too shabby. It doesn't sound too bad. I miss the shifting. You know, the CVT in there, you could hear it just like rev it up, and it just stays pinned at like, I don't know how many RPMs, because I don't have RPMs on here. But I was at 100% power, and it just stays there. It never moves. So you're just gradually increasing speed. I think I would rather have a 6-speed transmission in this, or maybe even an 8-speed transmission, but something to shift. You know, and those RPMs go that high, it's kind of scary when you hear it that revving not like that. But it did accelerate very easily and very quickly. And going at normal driving speeds, when you accelerate, you actually do hear the mimicking of shifting. So, and a lot of people are doing that now with the CVTs. They're mimicking those shifts, which is okay. I think it's not really necessary, but you know, a lot of people just like to have that feel that they actually have a transmission that is shifting gears. But not too bad there. Like I said, the ride in here is very good. It's a sporty feel. It sticks to the road and sticks to the corners and everything like that without any problem. I stick in my seat pretty well. The acceleration normally is very smooth. You press on the accelerator and it will pick up speed rather quickly. Everything here, like I talked about earlier, is easy to reach. I can just easily touch the touchscreen. I can easily get to my climate control. I can easily get to my drive modes and know that they're here. A few days of driving this, and even a few more weeks of driving this, I would probably be very comfortable just reaching down here and switching my drive modes without even having to look. Same with your climate control, stuff like that. The buttons on the steering wheel, those came very easily. I learned where those were at and what they do very quickly. So the gas mileage on this has been excellent, and you can see up here that right now we are going 28.7, but it is climbing because right now we're running off of the battery. And if you have it on sport mode, it runs the engine only, and that's all that it powers. If you put it in normal mode, then it will jump back and forth between the engine and the battery, and the engine, when it's running, will charge up the battery. And then you can put it in eco, and that will maximize the electric drive and use it at its best opportune times to get you the best gas mileage. Now, trip A was reset right after we ran our real world mile per gallon test. And since then we have ran 273.8 miles and we're averaging 46.2 miles per gallon. And if we go to trip B includes that test that we ran, and that gives us 326.4 miles, 45.3 miles per gallon. The average is supposed to be right around 44, so it's easily getting that. So big deal right there. Way to go. Honda hybrid system is working very, very well. Seats and everything in here are very comfortable. Suspension is tight and sporty, so it will hold you in your seat when you go around corners. It will take corners very aggressively if you want to take them aggressively. It does have the wider tires on this sport trim, so that really helps a lot. And I just feel comfortable in here. I feel like this is my car. After driving this for 4 or 5 days, I easily figured out where everything is at. My hand easily rests right here on the shifter, and everything else is just in place and in line, and I love this design that they did in here. This is just great. It's amazing. I love it. I think that everyone needs to get one. Now, you know, I could say that in every vehicle I drive now, and new vehicles, yeah, of course it's a new vehicle. What are you not going to like about a new vehicle? But there are things that do come up in some cars that are, you think that they should do a little bit differently, but this has all been laid out very well. They did a very good job on it. If you are looking for a hybrid, I would really, really consider this one. Depending on what you like about the styling of the exterior, but the interior is amazing. That's where you're going to be. You can't see the outside whenever you're driving it. So if you have not subscribed yet, click subscribe so you don't miss any more reviews. Now that we've seen everything on the inside and the outside of this Toyota Camry Hybrid, let's go take it for a drive. Okay, so we've been driving this for about 4 or 5 days now, and a lot of things that we talk about is like the power and things like that, and let's just check the power right now. Let's do a 0 to 60 real quick while we're right here and no one's around. I'm gonna put it into sport, and now we are in sport. All right. Here we go. Gonna brake torque. Ready? Go. $60. All right. That really wasn't too bad. It seems like it takes off a little slow, but then it actually keeps gaining power, it seemed like. Clear up until I hit 60. So that was actually pretty impressive. I like that. The acceleration was good. Can't fault that. It's not like quite like an electric car that kind of, you know, throws you into the back of your seat as soon as you hit the accelerator, but you know, it did keep gaining power as I was accelerating. So you wouldn't have any problem getting away from somebody if you needed to get away from someone. So I really did enjoy that. Now I talked earlier about the heads-up display, and you can actually see it really well right now. So I'm gonna put this back in to drive, and we will do an acceleration test. We're gonna do one more, see what happens here. I'm gonna leave it in drive instead of in sport. All right, so I have it in sport. 1, brake torque. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh yeah, that's a little more pull. That's good. Yeah, 60, all right. Yeah, not too bad. That was actually really good. It says 7.4, which is not terrible. It's not as good as others that I've been in. We drove a Santa Fe SUV, and it goes 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. So, and I believe the Honda Accord was actually just a little bit quicker. I think it was right around 6.8. So, this could do a little bit better, I feel, but it's definitely sufficient for what it is. The Camry is supposed to be an efficient car, especially the hybrid, so you're not supposed to be going 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds and burning a gallon of gas in 2 seconds. So, you know, it is what it is, but Toyota has done a very good job with this Camry. And we're speaking of gas mileage and burning up gas, and you got 44 in the city, 47 on the highway, with a combined average they're saying around 46. Now, I did my real world mile per gallon test, so if you want to see that, it'll be linked at the end of this video as soon as it's up, and it will be linked in the description also. And it did very well. And we've been driving this around for, like I said, for 5 days now, putting about 176 miles on it so far. We averaged right around 42 yesterday. It says 40 and a half today, but it's been hot. I've had the car running and idling while doing this review, so that has dropped some. So I would definitely expect to get 44 to 46 as probably an average, but like I said, watch my video, it'll tell you what you can really expect. So now I want to talk about the suspension and the driving dynamics. So the suspension in this is good. It's a nice ride. It doesn't hit bumps harshly, so you have a soft impact on those, and that's probably because of the 18-inch wheels, so you have a little bit more tire profile. But I like a little sportier suspension. I like to feel like I'm planted on the road. And so when you talk about driving dynamics and you take this through curves and corners and at a higher rate of speed, it doesn't always do that great. So you feel like you've got a little bit more body roll and lean going into that corner, and you can really feel when it's just about had enough. But for an everyday driving purposes, it's excellent. It drives smooth. It takes normal corners easily without any issues, without any tires breaking loose or anything like that. It does a very, very good job. But I personally like a sportier feel, a sportier car. If I'm in an SUV, I kind of expect to have some body roll or lean and stuff. When I get into a car, I want to feel kind of like I'm low to the ground and I'm in a sports car. No matter what kind of car it is, I want to feel like I'm in a sports car. That's just how I am and how I like to drive. So, you just have to decide whether it's right for you. I feel it's going to be right for any average person. They're going to love this car. They're going to think it's great. They're going to think it handles like it's on rails. And that is what this car is made for. This is made for a commuter car, a economic family car, a road tripping car that's going to give you a nice ride, get you where you want to go, and be able to enjoy your life. Okay, so seat comfort. This has been a big stickler for this car and these Toyota Camrys, because there's a lot of people who like the seats and there's a lot of people who feel the seats are kind of stiff and hard. I do feel that they are a little stiff, and generally I would say they will probably soften up over time. But I have read comments from other people that said they did not soften up, and this car, our tester here, has 7,780 miles on it, and they still feel tight and stiff to me. Sophian from Redline Reviews actually reviewed this car when it was several months ago, when it was newer, and he said the same thing about the seats, that they were hard and wasn't sure they might soften up. Well, I have this car now, and with 7,700 miles on it, and they still feel pretty stiff and hard to me. They're not horrible. I did feel like I was getting a little bit of back pain on that testing drive that I was doing for 2 hours straight. And then the other thing that I noticed is the bolstering on it, I feel, needs to be a little tighter. I think it needs to be a little thicker, a little tighter around the body. That way, because I feel like I slide around in here. When I go around a corner or something like that, I feel like I'm sliding. A smaller person than me is really gonna feel like they're sliding around. So they might, take into consideration, Toyota, that you might do a little bit more sport seat feel to these cars. Now, I don't know how the Toyota Camry TRD is, because it is the sportiest Camry that they have. Maybe it does have the sport seats in there, and maybe it just is a little bit better, but I don't know that for sure. So I haven't had a chance to drive it yet. I don't think that the exterior noise is real bad. I can't hear some wind noise right now, and it's not too windy outside, but we're driving 58 miles an hour, but it's not bad. You turn on your radio, you're never going to notice it. So it's about that level. The one thing I did note, I don't hear any road noise. So there's no road noise coming from tires or because it's lower to the ground or anything like that. Sounds really good there. There might be just a little bit of wind noise coming from the windows and stuff, but nothing too severe. It's a Camry. It's the same way a Camry has always been. It is a great economical car. It is a good price. It's worth the money. You won't be disappointed. And there's just a few things that, they need to kind of update, and maybe make some adjustments too in the future. But other than that, I think if you're looking for a Toyota Camry, I would say get this XLE, because it is the luxury Camry. If you do want a little bit sportier feel, you can get the XSE. It gives you a little sportier look to the outside, even though this one looks pretty sporty to me. But that is it. Thanks for joining me. Make sure that you click on one of these videos that's probably next to me. And if you don't like the top one, you'll probably like the bottom one. So click on one of those, watch another video of mine, click the subscribe button, click the like button, and I will see you in the next review.